Probably not the best thing to do in D&D, but
When we're playing, like sometimes you'll have like said something and I'll be like writing something down or kind of I'm really bad at multitasking. And so I'm trying to like write something really important that you said and then I end up missing something else important because I don't listen.
yeah, this is definitely one that you probably you probably would want to hear. Yeah, during last session.
Okay, so yeah, I guess like I don't know.
Okay.
I hear the sound echoes beneath, angels and skylines meet, and I'm straining to reach the light on the surface, light on the other side. I feel the pages turning, I see the candle burning down before my eyes, before my wild eyes. I feel you holding me tighter, I cannot see. When will we finally
More or less written in, or it can be something that you find later. The choice is 100% yours. Because yeah, I don't know. Do you just feel like it's something that you want to explore there, or just
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I really do.
okay? Do you want the last name that would exist at least, or that your dad would have? Okay.
Yeah, sure.
So the family last name is Catalina.
Okay. Ophelia, Catalina.
Mm-hmm.
Great.
It does actually. Now that I think about it, Ophelia
Yeah.
Catalina. Catalina is spelled Catallia.
Okay.
So I guess it would be more like Catalia. Catalia? Yeah, not Catalina. Catalia. There we go. Okay. So for this, just for the sake of, do you mention anything during the evening? Like you've heard this kind of whispering in the back of your head, urging you to kill the tiefling that is currently performing with Erland. Do you do anything that night, or is it just more?
I don't think I say anything.
Okay.
It's there, and I'm like, I should probably come back to this, but I'm gonna not tell anybody just yet.
Okay. Playing that edgy 17-year-old. I like that.
16. I'm 16.
16? I thought it was written on 17 on your thing.
Says my age is 16 on my sheet.
Damn, that's even okay.
Yeah.
Even better, edgy 16-year-old. Change that. Okay.
I need a little bit of edge in my character.
Oh, am I gonna have to worry about like folding out darkness wings and bones and stuff? Okay.
Not that.
Not that. Not goth owlbear. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like a seat on the ground.
That's not permission. That's not permission. No goth owlbears. Oh man. Okay. fairly easily done. The voice itself is, again, it's not the same as what you heard from the wizard. The dark entity back in the dungeon-esque kind of area. That was a lot more kind of slimy, tendril, like it was almost like something was grasping onto your brain and just kind of forcing the words and everything into the forefront of your brain. This is very much more of just kind of that. Have you ever been walking down the street and just seen someone and been like, I'm gonna punch that bitch in the face, and then just pause for a second and just go, where the hell did that come from?
No, I've never had.
Really? Okay, just me. Good to know. Good to know I'm crazy. It's kind of like that. It's more of like an intrusive thought that just kind of like brushes by and you register it and then you're just kind of like, wait, what?
Okay.
It does, whereas the entity from the kind of dungeon-esque area had less of a specific like tone and more of just like a sort of like a brute force of emotion and words. This is very much a more of a voice. It is very much more of someone or something whispering. So I don't have any like real good way of like breaking up the two voices because they are similar. So just bear that in mind. That I'll try and keep you up to date on what's what. Okay. Also, Adam has sick taste in music. Like, just straight up. Adam has great taste in music.
Oh, why?
Well, like the Idrisil stuff? Like, that's so freaking cool. Oh, love it.
So, don't know where the voices come from, but I'm just like, this is fine. Everything's fine.
Everything's fine. That's a good way of handling it.
Yeah, I'm like, this is fine. Normal people hear voices.
You're fairly certain that they don't, but nonetheless.
Yeah. So wait, where are we again? Like, are we still in that like keep or whatever?
You guys are currently at the at Erlin's entertainment troops.
Okay.
If you're on Roll20, it's just left of the Aslanti Keep.
I should probably go on.
Big kind of open area, field that might have well been farmland if it was a different time of the year. Massive amounts of tents. One big, enormous kind of performance, almost circus-like tent right at the center with a myriad of different wagons and other small pop-up shops and things like that. It has expanded since you first saw it. Some of the traders from within the city have temporarily set up small shops and abodes along the road leading up to the circus, and some of them, if they're on good terms, would be within the kind of entertainment area themselves.
Okay. This is like, I really don't know what to do right now.
Well, it is the evening, so you could very well just eat and go to sleep if you would like.
Yeah, I mean, like, after a day like that, I'd probably be like, I should get some good sleep and just kind of
Good plan.
do that.
Okay.
It's been like a crazy couple of days, you know?
Absolutely. And sleep does come to you fairly quickly.
Yeah.
Everyone passes out. You do get the benefit of full rest, so full HP, full spell slots, full everything.
Okay.
From what I understand, because you are sleeping though, during a long rest, you don't really have the ability to, revamp your entire arsenal, so to speak.
Yeah.
Unless
I
you're
know.
really good at sleepwalking for some reason, but
Yeah, just like sleepwalking, like mixing potions,
yeah,
getting them ready.
sleep alchemy.
Again, normal people don't do that. No. Okay.
No.
All right. So, I sleep. I do that. I wake up.
At about 7 o'clock in the morning, Erlin could probably tell you exactly when. You do hear a faint knocking at the wagon's door. I imagine that you probably would have slept with at least one other person in the wagons that you guys have absconded with, and not really done anything else with. So, faint knocking at the door, kind of rousing you from your rest. Ophelia?
Yeah.
Are you coming?
Oh. Okay. Yeah. Sure. Like, get up.
Tura kind of peeks in the door.
Is that like whole like teenager thing where they're like not really knowing where they are, but they're like, wow, that was a good sleep.
That was a good, yeah. No, I relate to that even to this day.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, I guess I'd go out and I roll 20 map back up here.
She kind of hands you a
No, yeah, go on.
She hands you a quick bowl of oatmeal. Quickly wolfing down hers. Today, I am going to the Spire. I assume you wish to come?
I do. Is that okay with you?
Absolutely. Well, of course. It would be a shame not to.
Yeah, Ophelia agrees. And how much does the Spire to get to the Spire through those airships cost again?
She kind of flashes her ring. For us, substantially less.
I kind of just like look at her. I'm like, oh, we got connections, dude.
Being nobility is grants certain privileges around here.
Cool. Yeah, go with her.
Okay. Breakfast is quickly finished off. By the time you guys are leaving, the troop isn't even fully awake or getting ready. You do see Edvith, Erlin's dad, kind of doing patrols and relieving a few of the guards who are on post or watch through the evening. Making your way into the city. The city itself, it's a bit of a different experience. The morning is a combination of people who are half asleep at the wheel and also people who have been awake for almost the entire night, and this is kind of the end of their shift. It's not bustling, but people bump into you left, right, and center as they kind of just zombie walk their way to wherever their destination currently is. You kind of have to stop yourself every once in a while from the caravans and horses that threaten to topple you over if you're not too careful. Eventually, you make your way to the... you wouldn't really know it, but it's the Fort Tempest mark on the map. The back portion by the docks is a massive amalgamation of wooden planks and quick detach pulleys and just a mass of people who very clearly have been working, maybe not all through the night, but close to it. A lot of tired faces and a lot of people who are starting to just come on shift.
Okay.
It's very rudimentary. It's more of like a scaffolding up the sides of these walls, leading up to the plethora of airships that jettison from that side of the wall. There's a number of very large, heavy airships with massive cargo compartments that pulleys are being used to shift up all of the materials onto it. Tura kind of steers you away from those behemoth-sized ones and starts to lead you towards one or two smaller airships that have lined up as lines of people leading up to them. It's probably about, at this time in the morning, probably about 20 people lined up at both of them. You get the kind of distinct sense that this is a bit of a charter or a commute almost, based upon the fact that every single person you see is dressed rather nice and carrying sparse baggage for anything more than, like an overnight or a one-day sort of excursion out.
Okay.
Tura leads you immediately to the front of the line, no hesitation. And there is a man who kind of grumbles at the front as soon as he sees her and she flashes her ring. One gentleman dressed in a relatively uniform-esque sort of leather and blue amalgamation, nice little hat, kind of tips his hat towards her, and both welcoming and greeting, sees the ring and just kind of right, come, leads you both forward. Sali and passenger. All right, that would be 5 gold apiece.
I kind of I look shocked at how because when I originally got here, I was told it was 300 gold pieces or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I looked absolutely shocked at him, and I kind of just with a huge smile hand him 5 gold pieces.
Tura smiles as well, hands over the 5 gold piece and puts another one just on the corner. Much thanks. All right, to the way. Just your bags for you. Yes, perfect. He leads you onto this very battered and beaten weigh scale, setting you both with your bags on it. Waiting a second, jotting down the number. You can see that he's taking notes of not just every single person who has who is going to be on the airship, but also the weight, which kind of makes sense to you. About a minute later, you're led onto the wooden floor, or the wooden lower level of one of the airships. The inside is relatively dark, although there is some light source, some globules that have been affixed to both the ceiling and sides. There are portholes that kind of ring the sides. Not really windows per se, but just openings for either air or to potentially see through. There's already probably about 10 or 15 people on the ship itself. Taking a seat, it's quiet. Everyone's kind of taking themselves. It's, I guess you could call it public transit kind of feel. Some people are taking notes. Some people are have journals from the town criers and things like that. Some are just reading books. Everyone seems to be used to this sort of travel. This is something that they do quite regularly. And based upon their dress and attire, you guess a lot of money probably goes through here. After about another 30 minutes or so, the door is closed and sealed. You don't so much feel the airship moving so much as there's this sense of lift. And you hear a massive kind of tung, tung, tung. You look out one of the portholes if you want, and there would be the gentleman who was doing the way ringing a massive kind of almost cowbell as indication that the airship is ready to launch.
Needs more cowbell.
More campaign needs more cowbell. Gonna Minotaur Bard with nothing but a cowbell. We're doing it.
Okay. Oh, I would love that. I would literally go and buy a cowbell as a prop and use it. Okay.
Maybe if Ophelia dies, but
Yeah, so I guess I just like honestly, I think I would be in awe of like this like ship moving.
okay. Looking out one of the portholes, you do catch her kind of rolling her eyes and just kind of amusement at your reaction. I figured you
Oh
would.
wow.
I figured you would find this interesting.
Well, yeah, I've never seen anything like it before.
Airships are quite common for me. They're maybe not a way of life, but something akin to it. It's they are phenomenal. I will say that. Looking at the porthole, you can start to see the small, ragged outskirts of the city of Lamps, as well as the swaths of farmland that take up the majority of the space outside the city. You've never seen farmland from above, and it takes you a second to kind of clue in that it is in fact the different crops, just based upon the fact that the land kind of almost looks like this fabric, multicolored, plaid-esque sort of jumble of shapes and colors. Um, it is very, very interesting. About 20 or 30 minutes into the flight, it's when you first do feel the sense of that you're in the air, as the airship is buffered by a bit of wind and starts to shake a little bit. Not quite like turbulence, but just more of like the ship itself starting to move a little bit. It's not the most comfortable feeling, but being that you've been on ships before, it's similar. Just air instead of water, or at least that's what you keep reciting in your head. Hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. After about 4 hours of flight, roll a perception check for me if you have dice.
Yeah, I do. Don't worry, I figured that. I was like, I'm gonna need dice. You said perception?
Correct.
19.
You pick off what looks like a rock, but immediately you're like, no, that can't be right. There, we're in the middle of the air. There's no way that a rock could be there.
Yeah.
And then you see another one. And another one. And suddenly a shadow kind of starts to pass by the other portholes leading up to you, and this massive boulder-like rock just floats past as past the ship. Looking out, you start to see more and more and more floating, massive, almost small islands, boulders. It's bewildering. It's catches you off guard in the most strange way. You're just floating rocks. Because you rolled so high on your perception, you also see amongst these rocks figures, pale humanoid figures, ropes and kind of strange hooks held in either of their hands. The ropes coiled generally around either their belts or around their arms. A few of them are climbing up these various massive rocks until one leaps off it, and your mind kind of panics for a second. You're like, no, and then he lashes out the hook. You see the rope trail behind it as the hook digs into the soft material of another rock, and he gracefully swings over.
Wow.
Tura just looks at you. Never seen a core, have you?
No.
Core live amongst the Gunnergath Mountains. They love the freedom that the floating monoliths and rocks that you see give them. They're very adept, as you can see, at traversing this area. We're going to a slightly more stable area.
So we don't have to sit on a floating rock?
I wouldn't say that.
I look like a mixture of like fear and excitement.
Tura just gives you a look that says a little bit of, I guess it doesn't really say anything. It's just a little bit mischievous. Oh, don't worry. You'll see soon enough. After about, I want to say about 6 hours,
Mm-hmm.
the light doesn't shift, but there's a little bit of coloration that seems to, and you do see Tura kind of pointing out a porthole not far from you. Same mischievous grin kind of cresting her face. I assume you're gonna go.
Oh, I was like, what?
I assume you're gonna go take
Dude,
a look, or
yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. You keep cutting in and out, so I can't tell if you're.
Oh,
done
sorry,
talking or
sorry.
not.
Let me know if it keeps cutting in it. I'm trying to.
Yeah, so I'm like, I'll wait because I think it cut out, but I'm like, I think he's just waiting for me to talk. I don't know.
No worries. Yeah, discoloration in kind of the light that pours through the portholes. You see a Tura kind of pointing towards the front and gesturing mischievously.
Like she wants me to like go up there, anything or?
Yes, you get the sense that she wants you to go take a look through there.
Okay, I go do that.
Okay. Looking out the porthole, you are greeted with a massive floating city. It's the name Gunnergath Spires immediately kind of makes sense, as it's kind of like a circle with points jutting out from the sides. 4 massive monolithic spires jutting out from each corner of the X that crosses. Some with bridges to them, some just kind of silently on their own. There's a number of smaller statues or towers that you can see littering the area. Before at the center, a enormous castle that dwarfs anything you would have seen prior, and even the monolithic spires themselves. It juts out almost twice the height of the initial spires that you saw, and is just almost taking up a solid half of the city itself. It is absolutely immense. Within the yeah.
I was gonna say, like, do I ask her like what it is? Like, do I know what it is? Is it like just a big castle or like?
You've heard stories. If you've researched the Gunnergath Spires, at least to go there, you understand that that's what this is. However,
is that the school or is it like?
This is the Gunnergath Spires. This is the schools.
Oh, yeah. Cool.
I'll send you a picture for reference.
Yeah. Okay. I'm like, I feel like I need visualization on this right now. Are you sending it to me on? Facebook or
Yeah.
Discord? Okay.
Sent.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
The airship itself starts to descend towards one of those smaller spire constructs, and you see more and more airships in the vicinity, both coasting in and out. The city itself almost seems to act as like a hub of sorts. Um, the city of Lamps has a good number of airships in its port, but this dwarfs it by tenfold. They're everywhere, small, large. It doesn't matter. Some of them are dropping off what looks to be cargo in the small cities that litter the outskirts areas. Others are probably, you guess, other passenger bits. Others, you're not even sure of what they could have possibly been used to accomplish. Welcome to the Spires.
It's really big.
A common first reaction. I will confess I was caught off guard as well the first time I appeared here.
Well, where are we going then?
For us, we will be going to, and she points to uh, one of the spires at the far end. It doesn't have a bridge attached to it. We are going
Oh.
there.
All right, so I proceed to go there with her.
Okay. Airship lands. Everyone disembarks, hurries off on their way. The bridge is that leads towards the town is massive. They've understood over the past few years that the amount of traffic passing through here requires such size to be there. Making your way through the city, it does kind of remind you a little bit of the City of Lamps, but everything is a lot nicer. Every single storefront, every single house it has a new feel to it.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of it is pristine, shiny, clean. Making your way over to the outskirts of the sound, you walked basically what would be a cliff edge with two sentinel guards standing on either side. There's what appears to be the starting platform of a bridge,
Mm-hmm.
and then just nothing. Tura walks forward. I am Tura Sali. I'm here to see Arcane Master Zorlin Kenneth. Holds out the ring. This is my apprentice, Ophelia.
I kind of just like, without saying anything, I kind of just like wave.
The two guards nod in sync, kind of disconcerting. There's no change, but Tura immediately just starts walking forward and just turns to you and goes, "Meet you on the other side," and steps forward off the edge of the bridge.
What?
There's a like almost a very, very, very quick sound of wind, and she vanishes.
I start like trying to like look for her.
Roll a perception check.
That's gonna be 9.
You don't see her.
I like kind of like peer over the edge. Do I see anything?
It is a sheer drop down. Very nice though. There's a lot of vegetation. There's a little bit of water elements on the side. Very peaceful. You can kind of see some avian wildlife of some kind dispersing out. But no, it's a sheer
Uh,
drop about. Actually, would
sorry.
this
Are
go
they like?
straight off? Yeah, probably straight down to the clouds.
Hmm. Are there any like people like or like guards near me?
Yes, there are the two guards standing sentinel on either side.
I kind of just like look at both of them. I'm like look back at like where Tura was and kind of like look at them. I'm like, where did she go?
First time at the Spires, eh?
I kind of like nod at him.
Just bit hard to explain, but just take a step out. It'll take care of the rest.
I look back at the cliff and I look back at him. I'm like, are you out of your mind?
Well, your friend didn't just magically vanish. She, well, I mean, in a sense, she did, but she's waiting there, over on the other side. Just, it's. Aren't you one of those magic folks? Ain't you seen magic before?
Yeah, but there's nothing here. There's not even a portal or anything.
He reaches down and finds like a small bit of loose stone. He's like, teleportation would be a bit too expensive for this, but tosses the stone just past you. You hear the same kind of, and the stone vanishes as well.
I kind of like look at back at them. I'm like, well,
It'll take you to
okay.
it'll take you to the other side. Just trust it.
And I like go over to the side and I like very, very like carefully like go to like stick my foot over and then I like fall in and I just start like screaming.
The, the moment you kind of start to put weight forward on your foot,
Mm-hmm.
you are mentally preparing for the feeling of falling. And yes, you do scream instinctively. Ah! Your foot lands on solid ground.
Oh.
Hand kind of patting your shoulder. It takes a little bit to get used to, but far more efficient than walking, I can guarantee you.
I'm like, where are we?
Looking up, you're standing on a platform very similar to the one that you just left, but looking up, you are now at the spire.
Oh, wow.
Looking back behind you, you can kind of make out where you left. It is a solid, like, 1,000 meters away, though.
Sorry, my friend just sent me a meme. Say that again.
Looking back, you can kind of see where you stepped off from,
Oh, okay.
but it's about 1,000 meters away.
Oh.
Just kind of speeds things up, you know? Keeps
Yeah, I
things
guess.
interesting.
I guess that's more efficient.
When you have this many students, efficiency is very much needed. At this
All right,
point,
so where are we going?
you kind of realize you're not alone anymore.
Mm-hmm.
You are maybe not surrounded, but there is at least 50 to 100 students that are, or at least you assume there are students based upon the fact that this is a school, that are sitting, standing, writing, working, all various manners of bustling around. None of them pay you any mind as they're just on their own mission, on their own little journey. Welcome to the Arcane Engineering Spire.
This. And she kind of just like looks around. She's like, "This is the coolest thing I've ever seen."
It is something. It's a little more all over the place than you were expecting from seeing above. Where the other spires are very clean, marble, this one from the inside suddenly appears to have a little bit of everything. There's various materials, metals, there's objects floating this way and that. Students working on whatever they're working on at various different tables or various different alchemy sets that you immediately recognize. There's a controlled chaos to it. It looks a lot of fun too. Right, well, you're free to explore if you want. I'm going to go talk to my teacher. Although he might be interested in meeting you. You're the
I kind of
first.
start like nodding my head. I'm like, yes, I would very much like to go with her.
Very well. There's a massive spiral column, kind of like almost a double helix at the very center. Walking into almost the common area at the base of the tower, you make your way through the swaths of different students towards it. Just before she takes a step onto this kind of stairwell double helix, she just turns to you. Think of level. I'm pretty sure he's on 13. Think of 13, and then step. And as soon as she says that, she just turns around, steps on the stair, and yeah.
I kind of like follow and do the same thing, like with a little bit more hesitation, but I do it.
Same kind of feeling. It's like this immediate feeling that you've taken all the stairs and all the steps, but it was so fast you didn't really comprehend it. It was just, and you arrive at what you assume is level 13, or you think so anyways, because Tura's standing right there. All right, this way. She leads you forward through this relatively simple hallway towards a massive open chamber that's just filled with different tables. You make out three distinct sections. One that is filled to the brim with different alchemy components and sets. You're almost tentatively heading towards in that direction. Near the center, there is a little bit more of a, not so much of a forge, but there's hammers and there is little tinkering materials and everything just strewn all over the place. A lot more of a mess than the alchemy section. The final area is almost devoid entirely of contraptions and mechanisms. It's instead very smooth top tables, a lot of very intricate runes and other magical writings have been engraved or otherwise cemented into the tables themselves. Making her way further in, you see Tura just kind of looking around. Where is he? Where is he? Where is he? Zoran? Her voice kind of echoes out, and then all of a sudden you do hear a, yes, what is it? A head kind of pops up from one of the tables near the center. Tura! Oh, how are you, girl? This very, well, kind of middle-aged human male, weathered gray hair, kind of scarred peacocked brown skin, bright acid green eyes, kind of dressed in a similarly well kind of tailored suit. Very much gives off the professor kind of vibe. Immediately a smile breaking out on his face. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. Oh, it's been exactly 4 months, 2 days, 16 hours since I last saw you. Oh, how are you doing? How's your studies? Well, I mean, how's the Rangers? Tura kind of gestures for that you're free to move around if you like, as she makes her way over to who you assume is Arcane Master Zoran. It's been too long, Zoran, but I'm afraid I come bearing bad news. At this point, the two of them start to walk further into the room. Are you doing anything, or are you just kind of following behind, or?
I guess I'll look around the room. Do I see anything that kind of like catches my eye in like terms that I want to check that out?
Tons.
Huh.
For you specifically, roll a perception check.
Okay.
More to see what you notice first.
21.
Okay. Your eye is immediately drawn to the back end of the kind of alchemy section of the room. There is a array of different things that kind of harken back to what you first saw with Tura. There's empty flasks. There's these vials that are held on leather-bound belts, similar to how Tura does. Leather bracers, all these different protective components. You immediately kind of grasp that this is student wares almost. This is the kind of things that they would be creating concoctions in and storing them, and otherwise working with dangerous materials, things like that.
Yeah. I don't know, dude.
You do hear a bit of quiet crying, laughter, a little bit of everything. You get the feeling that Tura is more or less given the rundown of Aura's destruction.
Do we tell him about RoboDog?
Tura did, yeah.
Oh, did she already?
Well, she was kind of walking away after she gave the signal with Zoran, and so I assume that's the moment that you took to kind of go examine the alchemy section. Examining the section more, since you rolled so high, you do see a number of various grades of alchemy sets, different materials, some that you've never even like seen or heard of before. There appears to be 2 or 3 different components that are currently being created. One is being boiled a little bit, the other one on a continuous temperature. The other one is being left out in the sun. A third one, it appears to be completely sealed, and it's then sealed inside another kind of glass flask with a massive amount of weight put on the top, probably to prevent any sort of airflow. Various different projects and everything. You bet if you had enough time, you could figure out a number of different things here.
Okay. Do I have enough time?
maybe. While you're kind of examining everything, it takes probably about 15-20 minutes to get through everything and just kind of really examine it down to the T what it is. By that point, Tura's kind of led Zorlin over. Sorry about that. She kind of like wipes away a last bit of tear. So, this is my master, Zorlin. He helped. Well, he did most of the heavy lifting of making aura. Zorlin, this is I want to say apprentice, but we haven't known each other too long. This is Ophelia.
I say hi to them.
So you think she has potential then? Well, if given the correct instruction, absolutely. I know my word doesn't carry much around here, but I was hoping you'd be able to let her study here. I assume I'm not breaking any taboo there. You said you wanted to study here, Ophelia?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do.
Zorlin kind of sizes you up. Well, show me something. Tura's word does carry something, but show me something you've made.
I pull out. I had that potion, that like wild or the random elixir thing that I can do.
Okay.
I'm like, I made this today.
So that is your
It's a flying potion.
flying potion? Okay.
Yeah.
He takes it, kind of examines it, takes a small little whiff of it. Interesting. Well, you've progressed past the basic student. I assume you're interested in alchemy?
I am.
Hands the potion back to you. Well, as you could probably guess by my dress, I'm not much of an alchemist myself, but if Tura wants to teach you a few things while you're here, maybe set you up in a student manner, I certainly wouldn't say no. We'd have to, if you want to spend more time here, we'd have to go through the headmaster, of course, and get you properly enrolled. Based on your skill, would you be interested in enrolling at the school?
I just like vigorously shake my head, like up and down. Yes.
All right. It would be a commitment. You understand? It would be several years of commitment. Yes.
Yes.
Very well. I shall put the question to the headmaster. For the time being, why don't you and Tura, well, she would like something to get her mind off of it, so why don't you play around a bit? He gives Tura kind of mentor shoo, bit of a wink. Tura leads you over, and at this point, immediately starts grabbing some of the different equipment that you saw off on the side and starts laying it out. She hands you a vial belt, basically a belt with a small leather portion that can hold. This would be a first one, so this would hold. How many prepared spells do you have right now? Like 5?
5.
Okay. This one unfortunately only holds 4 vials at the ready, in
Mhm.
kind of like a little. The vials themselves, she does pull out 20 of them. These are a little more, shall we say, resistant to external wear than normal vials, so I'd recommend using these. And then also pulls 5 flasks, small little flasks off. These are for your experiments. They're very, very, very tough to destroy. Acids won't really destroy or won't have any effect on them, so on and so forth. So feel free to use them for your more experimental concoctions. Finally, grabs a couple of leather, almost bracers, but they're more like mid-length gloves. They kind of go just past your wrist and a little ways up your forearm. They're fairly loose at the kind of top, but they're a very sturdy leather for the glove itself. These are for if you're handling dangerous or hot materials. Don't stick your hand in lava; it won't help with that, but they'll at least help prevent a little bit of. Keep your hands a little more supple.
Awesome.
Was that you or me?
That was me. Sorry.
All good. So, if you would like to write on your sheet under the equipment, if you would like to add all of this stuff.
Okay, let me get that going here. Okay, so they are.
So you have 20 resistant vials. These vials are resistant to physical damage of non-magical sorts.
Okay.
You have 5 empty experimental elixir flasks. And you get heat-resistant, call them bracers. Or gloves, I guess it doesn't really matter.
Okay.
As for what they do, bit redundant for you, I guess, but when wearing the gloves, you do have resistance to fire. So, I guess you're a tiefling. That means you probably already have resistance to fire. But anyways,
I do.
It's not something Tura would probably know. The resistant vials, they are resistant to all forms of physical damage from non-magical weapons, and so yeah, you can't really smash them in the traditional sense, but you can pour them and you can use them to carry components and carry more, let's call them dangerous prepared spells if you would like. And then the 5 empty flasks, 5 flasks that are designed for experimental elixirs. Basically, you are fucking around with something and you don't want it to destroy everything you own. You put it in. You put it in the flask.
Okay.
So, 7 o'clock. It's taking you about 7 hours or so. So it'd be sitting at around 2 or 3 in the afternoon. For the remaining time, Tura does run you through everything that you are kind of figuring out. More or less cementing knowledge. So at this point, you have all of your archetype benefits. That includes right tool, experimental elixirs to the everything, infusions, all of your spells. You can swap them up as you see fit. Tura does offer you, if you would like, I'm not sure which spells you currently have, but she has offered you Cure Wounds as a option, and she has also offered you Alarm as an option.
I think I already have Cure Wounds, so I'll take Alarm.
Okay.
Okay.
So this takes you well into the evening. Um, it's a bit of a quick study course, but there's still a lot to take in. And as smart as you are, it still leaves you a bit mentally frazzled. Eventually, Tura does kind of stop you for the evening, probably at around, 12 or 1 in the morning. Um, kind of beckoning that, maybe we should get some sleep, and leads you over to what looks to be some sort of dormitory. Uh, there's a there's bunk beds kind of all over the place, and she unceremoniously walks to a very specific one just near the center that no one has taken, and
Mm-hmm.
plops down on the bottom bunk, pointing to the top bunk, which seems to be open, and she's asleep before you're even up there. So, morning comes. There is a mess hall here, so breakfast is fairly quickly found upon. With all of your new equipment, you do blend in a little bit more. The students themselves
Mhm.
do have a certain robe set that they are kind of wearing underneath a lot of their equipment if they're alchemist. Otherwise, they have leather aprons or other sort of protective materials, or equipment that they would be donning depending on what it is they're studying.
Mm-hmm.
Partway through breakfast, a relatively short but very, how do I describe this? Almost ethereal presence starts to make her way from the stairwell. The moment she lands, you do hear a huge amount of muttering, and a lot of the students kind of quiet down and start to part ways. Uh, this female, she's kind of like cropped, curled hair. It's dyed red at kind of the edges, and on the right side of her head is shaved clean. She's got very, very beautiful blue eyes, um, pale, almost translucent skin. Uh, she makes her way very quickly to your table. Very little pause, very little moment for you to react, and then she's just standing right in front of you. You are Ophelia,
Yes.
Tura's apprentice.
Yes.
You wish to study?
Yes.
Very well. Both of you, follow me. She, without even pausing, turns tail and just immediately walks back towards the stairwell, not even giving you guys a chance to, well, react or do anything. She's already hit the stairwell and gone before it kind of like settles in. You hear mutterings and just like, what is the headmaster doing here? What? Who's that? What? Why is Tura back? What didn't she? Just random amass of mutterings as the newfound attention. Tura, to her credit, just kind of shields her face. Right, forgot about that. Follow me. Headmaster apparently wants to see you.
Should I be worried?
Not yet, I don't think. You both make your way to the stairwell. Your intelligence is high enough that you probably would remember to ask what level.
Mm-hmm.
To which Tura just kind of chuckles. Well, headmaster, top floor. Steps forward. You step forward as well, and your mind just kind of top floor. At the very top of the spire, you are dropped unceremoniously in the middle of this incredibly ornate and very beautiful office. A lot of open area, a lot of windows that give you a majestic view of both the outside sky as well as the rest of the Gunnergath spires, the city, the castle, everything. Books lined bookshelves, all very well cared for, if worn a little bit. Their spines generally have small little marks to indicate what they belong to. Directly in front of you is a gorgeous mahogany desk. Very, very clean grain. And sitting behind it, despite her short stature in a very imposing manner, is what you assume is the headmaster. Tur immediately kind of just shoves you forward. There's two smaller, less ornate chairs sitting directly in front of the desk. Headmaster waiting almost expectantly before you drop into the seats.
Mm-hmm.
So, Ophelia.
Yeah.
Just Ophelia?
I have a last name.
Kind of pulls out a very fluffed quill. Your last name?
It's Catalia.
There's a small pause, and then she just continues writing. Very well. You have two recommendations. One from an arcane master, and another from a questionable student, but nonetheless, both say that you have potential. So, it's not normal here, but would you like to take the entrance exam and attempt to study at the Arcane Engineering Spire?
I excitedly say yes.
Now understand, this is an obligation. This is not something that happens overnight. You will be here for several years, and while you will become more powerful, this school will be your life.
I agree.
Very well. So at this point, we're going to have to stop.
No.
We're going to have to talk about something.
Oh.
Well, Ophelia wants to take the entrance exam.
Yeah.
Assuming she passes, Ophelia is going to be studying at the Gunnergath Spires for an extended period of time.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't want to retroactively do anything. I don't want that to be a thing. But yeah. So
Is it possible she can be like, can I take the offer in like a little bit?
define a little bit.
Like once our quest shit is done?
Oh boy.
I've dug us into a hole, haven't I?
No, it's just there's a number of different paths that could be taken.
Yeah.
The problem is you're not sure how long the adventures or how long the quote unquote quest is going to take.
Mm-hmm.
And frankly, something that as the DM I'm going to say, uh, it's not a short quest.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like, oh man, I'll go figure all this shit out and be back in a week. It's not quite that simple, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
So what I would say is if you would like to persuade her to give you some personal time before you start studying, assuming you pass the exam, you can make that roll, but it still doesn't change the fact that once you begin attending the school, it is expected that this is a full-time thing. It's not like, oh, you get weekends and 40-hour work week, you get the evenings and weekends free, that kind of stuff. This shit is hardcore. They are day in, day out, 7 days a week, literally just cramming every bit of knowledge humanly possible. There's a reason that Tura is a 4th level artificer, and is only as well as a 2nd level or 2nd or 3rd level ranger, and is only like, early 20s. Like, it's intense shit. So she went to school for like 2 or 3 years, and basically every year correlates to some extent to almost a full level of training and study, no matter what. So it's like, yeah, you could maybe get up to like level 3 or 4 earlier, but after that, like, the sheer amount of experience and stuff that is garnered through through continuous study you can't really put a term on that. So yeah, the other option there's like 3 options that I see right now. It wouldn't really make sense for Ophelia not to go to school, considering that's kind of the entire thing that she wanted to do. So, hi.
Coffee's going on.
Perfect, thank you. So, yeah, it's all good. So, you could play Tura for the time being, until we figure out what happens exactly with Ophelia, because that'll be a thing unto itself, and I can't really answer that without doing some reading and looking into it. You could, if you would like to put Ophelia in the school for a set amount of time, and I just kind of give you like, here's big events that happen, here's things that happen, and you kind of make judgment calls based on Ophelia, based on the character itself, on what she does, what she specializes in, who she would become friends with, etc., etc., etc. And ultimately, if you feel at some point that she would leave the school, which is something that happens no matter what, the school basically provides education up to a point where you would basically be considered a master and be able to strike out on your own and do whatever you want. So it would either be Ophelia studies up until that point, or depending on what happens and etc., if she leaves the school early, at that point there is also potential there. The last option is we put Ophelia entirely on the back burner. If you don't want to worry about keeping track of her, I can do that. And we bring in a different character.
Can I try to think about it?
You absolutely can. We'll call it for now, but you don't have a huge amount of time.
Yeah, I know.
because the next session is tomorrow, and it kind of starts a day from now.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay. Let me think on it. You know.
Okay. Sounds good. Well, in that case, take your time, and yeah, I'll message you tonight, see if you've made a decision or thought about it, okay?
Got it. See you later.
Jaws.
Bye.
Oh, hell yeah. Good job, love.